4, the Business Networking Breakfast at Ickworth House, hosted by West Suffolk College.
Just on the basis that there is no such thing as a free breakfast, if I could just talk about some funding opportunities before we move on. There's still, despite publicity, there's still significant amount of funding available. Free training for 16 to 18 apprentices, and over 19s are supported as well. The breakfast is also supported by Sustainability Efficiency East, which is a project we're involved in, which is funded through the European Development Fund, and companies employing less than 250 people can access advice on how to save business costs.
Can provide 12 hours of free business support, and that would include providing an energy audit and working with you to identify actions and then support you to implement those, with the idea that at the end of it you will have cost savings, energy savings per year. Some examples of the actions that we've helped businesses to implement include looking at changes to lighting. It also involves putting together some sensors and timers which help control the use of lighting and heating so that you're not using too much at certain times. And obviously the renewable technologies as well. So solar panels, air source heat pumps are just a couple of examples.
One more area of funding you may be interested in, leadership and management funding. There is a project funded by the Skills Funding Agency where small and medium-sized businesses can get up to £1,000 to support leadership and management training.
What I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about the big picture, and hopefully I will encourage you to think about how you might be able to apply social media in your business. And it's worth thinking about the history of marketing and where social media has come from. For those of you who don't know, which will probably be everybody, this is Leo Burnett. Back in the 1920s, he invented advertising and marketing as we know it. And he worked out that if you touch people often enough with your message, you can affect a behavioural change in those people. And that's how brands like Daz have become a household name for us all. The idea being that you watch a Daz advert, and you watch it several times during the evening, and then you go into the supermarket and you go, oh, I recognise that, I think I'll give that a try. Another problem that we face is that the marketing channels have become incredibly fragmented. Those of you that are my age or a little bit older will remember that when we were young, there was one commercial TV channel. When we were teenagers, there were 2 commercial TV channels. Now there are 400 commercial TV channels. And we all inhabit a large number of these. And it isn't just TV. There are 150,000 different magazines published in the UK. There are countless platforms that we can use to talk to our targets. And the problem is that our targets fundamentally are not listening to us. Now, there are a whole host of reasons as to why you should start to use social media. But let's start with a byproduct of your social media engagement. 3 billion people a day Google things, so it's really, really important that you're visible when they Google stuff. Now, if you are active in the world of social media, you might have a presence on half a dozen sites, a dozen sites, 20 sites even. Social media is a very big pit into which you can pour your time and money, and although there are no media costs with social media, it is not free. It will take you time to do it, and that's time you could spend doing something else. So you need to have a plan, and you need to be realistic about allocating resources and budgets for training or design work that you need doing for your LinkedIn or Facebook page. You need to think about how you are going to measure the effort that you put into this. How are you going to measure the results that you get? Remember that followers and listeners are not the same thing. So the fact that you're measuring how many people follow you on Twitter, that's not adding any value. You can't take Twitter followers to the bank.
A very well attended event. Next time we'll be bringing you footage from the Tour of Britain, plus the Berry Bicycle Challenge.